Welcome to Jazz on My Mind, Coast to Coast. I'm Richard Blackwell. Tonight we're coming to you from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And we're here to talk to a young man who plays the mean jazz flute. He's been influenced by greats such as Dizzy Gillespie, Louis Armstrong, Frank West, and the one and only Benny Goodman. This young man has been featured at the Berks Jazz Festival in Pennsylvania and also at the House of Blues in Chicago. My jazz conversation and performances by Mr. Alvin Fisher, Mr. Smooth Jazz, is coming up on Jazz on My Mind. Alvin, welcome to Jazz on My Mind.
Hey, Richard, thank you.
It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you, man.
We've been trying to do this for quite a while.
Yeah, finally.
It's finally good to see you. I know you've been busy.
Yeah.
Because when I talked to you a couple of weeks ago, you were on your way to St. Louis.
Right. I was actually down there for, I think I spent a week down there. My wife travels with her business, with work, and usually what I'll do is tag along and go to one of the cities and end up going into a jazz club and doing my thing, you know. So we've this year done San Francisco, we've done LA, we've done St. Louis, and
wow.
Matter of fact, I'm leaving out of here in a couple of days on my way to Atlanta. So
To do some more stuff.
yeah.
So Alvin, tell me, what's been going on with your music? What have you been doing musically?
Well, what I did, Richard, was I put out a single.
Mm-hmm.
I decided that I was going to go the route of putting out a single, and that single would introduce me to the country, and then I'd put out a CD. So I put a single out. The single is called, it's a remake of a tune by the Delphonics called La 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 Means I Love You.
Whoa, big hit, 1968.
70s or something, I don't know.
It was a big hit, though.
It was in the 70s, yeah. Right. So I did a smooth jazz version of that, and with my son playing guitar on it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, with my son playing guitar on it with me, and we put that out, and it's done pretty well on the internet. It's done well various radio stations around the country, so I'm looking forward to now putting out the complete CD, and I'm working with a producer out of Chicago, a friend of mine by the name of Tim Gant, who's just produced a couple of tunes for Rick Braun and Richard Elliott. So he's going to be producing my new CD, Absolutely.
I like that title too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Now, your music, I've heard that song that you mentioned, La La Means I Love You. Beautiful song. Your son is accompanying you on guitar.
Yeah, he's on the guitar.
We're going to be talking to him in just a little bit.
Good.
But where did this all begin for you? Where did you, I know it was at an early age, but tell us, where did you pick up such a musical talent with the flute?
Well, you know, you're right. It started at an early age, man. I'm from the other century, the 20th century. Even though we're now in the first part of the 21st century.
Right.
But back in when I was a kid, back in those days, man, I grew up going down into the basement, listening to my father's records, where he had people like Count Basie and Benny Goodman and Duke Ellington and the great Frank West, who I actually happened to meet last year.
I know that was a thrill for you.
Oh man, this guy at the time, matter of fact, I'll take that back, it was a couple of years ago, he was 85 years old. He's 87 now.
Whoa.
And he can still play. I mean, he's the master, you know. But just to be able to meet him at the Kennedy Center and talk with him, we took pictures. I gave him a copy of my single, you know. I felt embarrassed doing it, you know. But he was a gracious guy. He took it, you know. And anyway, those influences on me at an early age is what got me starting to play. And it was just the whole idea of jazz. You know, jazz music, and I studied music in school. In high school, I was a music major. But jazz music started the early part of the 20th century.
That's right.
And what those cats used to do then, a lot of them couldn't even read music. But they would, when the jazz started, they would take the head of a song. They would make that the beginning. In the middle, you'd hear a lot of improvisations. Then they go back to the end and close it out. And so jazz was a lot of influences in terms of improvisations and how a person felt, you know, when they played. And so that kind of, even though I studied music and I learned how to read music and read the charts and things like that, I was fascinated by being able to improvise.
There you go.
You know, and
which is what you have to know how to do to be a jazz musician.
Right, and back in the 70s, you know, we called it getting down, you know. So, you know, I like to get down, you know.
There you go.
So anyway, that's something that's been a part of me and been in my bones my entire life. So.
Well, I know you also were born pretty close to here. You were born in Washington, D.C.
Yes,
right?
Washington, D.C.
That's your hometown.
Born and raised, absolutely.
Now, what age did you pick up the flute?
I believe I started playing when I was about 8 or 9 years old, something like that. Yeah, the same age my son started officially playing the guitar. Even though I put a guitar in his hand when he was like 3 years old, you know. I've got pictures of him strumming on the guitar when he was 3, but I was about 8 or 9 years old when I started. Yeah.
Now, when I came into your studio here, I noticed you had quite a few pictures.
Oh yeah,
of people that you played with, people that you know.
Yeah,
and we have a lot in common. George Duke.
Yeah, George Duke
is a friend of mine and a friend of yours as well.
Yeah.
Also, the Verdine White of Earth, Wind and Fire.
Earth, Wind and Fire. Those cats have been around. A lot of people that I know today, and I will tell you, I've been on a dual track. I've been in the information technology arena for about 35 years. And in that role, I worked at XM Satellite Radio. Matter of fact, I'm one of the original employees of that company when we started it about almost 9 years ago. And being at XM Satellite Radio, I was the first musician who tested out our $2 million recording studio. And then they wanted me, if you listen to satellite radio back in the day, we had a logo that went on the radio, and they wanted me to play that logo because nobody had heard of satellite radio, so we didn't have any musicians coming by at the time. So I went in the studio and recorded this 4 or 5 tone logo.
Similar to what the NBC logo.
Right. You know, when you watch TV, you hear that dong dong dong. You know you're watching NBC. Well, we came up with this, or XM came up with this logo that we used, and so a lot of when you hear satellite radio or you heard that flute. That was me.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, playing a lot of those riffs on satellite radio. Yeah.
Now, how was it performing live? How was it, especially at the House of Blues in Chicago?
Oh man,
that was that situation.
Oh, that was really off the chain. Okay, that was off the chain. Like I said, I studied music, man. So the baddest cats that came out of jazz came out of Chicago.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way, they left New Orleans and went up to Chicago.
Well, and Chicago was my home.
Oh, really? Okay.
When you talk about Chicago, I've been around them all. Well, from Ramsey Lewis to Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh my God.
You name it.
Oh my God. Well, you were around some of the best musicians in the country, and even to this day, I tell the guys there who are my good friends. Michael Logan, who is a keyboardist extraordinaire. He, matter of fact, I just talked to Mike last week. He did the music. Helped do the music on Tyler Perry's latest movie. I Can Do Bad All by Myself. Yeah. Mike Logan, Tim Gant, who I mentioned earlier, who's going to produce my CD. These cats, man, they are some of the toughest musicians that I've ever played around. You know, but they're also bringing up from the past all the guys that brought that talent to Chicago. One of the main guys that was a big influence on me there was Nick Corleone. And Nick Corleone is my musical mentor. He's my musical brother, and I just love Nick because without Nick, I wouldn't even be sitting here.
Now you've mentioned that name to me in several of our conversations.
Okay.
And he's a wonderful, great guitar player.
Yes.
Why don't you tell some of the Jazz on My Mind viewers a little bit more about Nick?
Well, Nick actually, he's a guy who he's from Chicago, and he started out as a teenager playing with